right? I mean, the batchmates, among the batchmates, do you have contacts among each other?
Not much, ma'am, but while we are doing the sessions, if we have some problems, normally we are having chat with them. Other than that, I have, there are two friends I have normally via WhatsApp, I can chat with them. Do I want to check with them, ma'am, whether they are
The
going
thing
to
is,
join?
Tarani, right now, just let me tell you something regarding the nature of this module. Of course, now rather than now, there are a lot of theoretical things which we need to discuss, and at the same time, there are practical things. Right now, this is actually now at the moment we are talking about the sounds, right? Parts from phonetics and phonology area. So for that, of course, the students need to participate in the work. Otherwise, they will not get the things to themselves, right? So if I hope you can understand what I am telling here. So it's not easy, not convenient to be working with only one student, right?
Yeah, I know, I can understand, ma'am.
Thing is, of course, I can be telling for 2 hours, no issue.
Yeah.
But it's much better actually if the students are there in the lecture rather than later on watching the recording, right?
Yes.
So this
That's
subject
okay,
is
ma'am.
much more to the practical things. That's why I'm always worried about the attendance of the students in this subject.
I can understand.
So actually, yesterday there were 2 students.
Ma'am, I have to excuse for that because I'm suffering from that viral flu. Yesterday, I couldn't come and sit for the session. Now I'm okay. So I'm really sorry about that thing, but
that's
future
all right.
definitely
I
I
mean, if
will
you're not
log in.
well, you can't concentrate now. So it's all right. But the thing is now, actually, there's that danger. I mean, I can manage as the lecturer. I can manage. I mean, non-stop I can be talking for 2 hours or even more than that. But that won't be fruitful if the students are not there in the session. So what shall we do?
No, that's okay, ma'am. I think it's no point to do a lesson for the one student. So shall we continue the other part on the next week?
What do you
Then
mean?
I will read the session, but I couldn't participate for the yesterday part. No? So if you can just give me the page number, then I can go through it, and ma'am, I will highlight the places that I couldn't understand. Then next
Sure,
day I
I'll
will
do
clarify
it.
that with you.
Sure. I'll do it. Right. I'll be showing you this these slides as well. Right now, what shall we do today?
Today, ma'am,
Is it all right if we continue like this?
No, but the thing is your time, and if there's not log on to the session today.
But the thing is, Tarani, definitely they will get the recording, right? Now this is recorded now. So they will get the recording, but they will not get the maximum benefit of only by watching the recording. Like they are in the lecture. So it's not advantageous for them if they don't come for the lecture. Other than that, of course, no issue there. Right? So shall we continue like this?
I'm okay, but I don't know how about the other.
You just better check, Tarani, with your friends.
But I will just send them
Even
a
if
message.
they are not okay, just within few minutes, you just try to contact them and see.
5 minutes for that, ma'am. I will try.
Sorry?
I don't have everybody's number, doctor.
No. You just your closer friends, I mean. Right?
All right.
Just to see whether anybody else would be coming. If not, also no issue. Let's continue. Right? Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. areas. Right, now I will just discuss the areas from the point I have stopped yesterday. Right, doesn't matter. I will, okay, please give me the screen sharing. I need the screen sharing facility. Thank you. Okay, so okay, I'll show you the areas I have discussed up to now.
Okay, ma'am.
So now just notice that all these things are from the module, okay? From the module which you already have with you. So I will go to the beginning just to remind you and to make you aware of what we are discussing right now. So this is actually the second lesson.
Chapter 2, yes, ma'am.
Consonants and vowels, right? And these are the sub areas. In this second lesson, there are 5 major areas to be discussed. And now we are meeting in this month after a long time. No? So before the right during I think maybe first sub area I discussed. So just let me tell you something about it. Right now here in the discussion of consonants and vowels, of course, we started to talk about the differences, of course, right? When we use a language, there are so many ways of using a language, of course, via the spoken medium as well as the written medium, and there are sign languages as well. So actually, we disregard the sign language in our discussion of this module, right? And there are 2 forms of using language, spoken medium and the written medium, or spoken form and the written form. So in linguistics, you know, usually we give the priority to talk about the spoken form. Okay, in linguistics, we give the priority to the spoken medium because always the language is considered to be originally used in for communication via the spoken form. And the written form came quite later, right? And with the written form, we associate the words, the letters, especially rather than the words, we talk about the letters in the written form. But when we talk about the spoken form, that is the primary medium of communication using a language. So we pay our attention to the sounds, right? Now you hear me and I talk. So I am the speaker, you are the listener, I am the sender and you are the receiver. So as the speaker or the sender of the message, I produce a lot of sounds. And I combine certain sounds together. And as the receiver, at the reception end, you listen to these sounds and you try to understand. You take the message to the brain and process the message in the brain, and then its perception. Okay, so this is the communication process. So when we talk about language, now this is linguistic. This module is related to the several aspects of linguistics. So primarily here, now this is still the second lesson of the module. So we are talking about the sounds. Actually, we give the priority of our discussion towards the production of sounds. So as an approach to that, you have this first area where we discuss of course, we compared and contrasted the spoken form with the written form. So I don't want to, of course, talk about that part again here. If you were not there in that lecture, definitely you might get the video and watch it. Right? So there we were actually contrasting. Right? What is spoken form and what is written form? And especially when we think about the written form, we have to talk about the English spelling, right? But the problem is, of course, this English spelling, the spellings of a word do not tally with the pronunciation of that word always.
Okay.
Most of the time, of course, we write a word according to how we pronounce it. No? Some of the words are phonetic words. Phonetic words means their spellings tally with the pronunciation. So especially when you think about teaching English to small kids, not only very small kids, right? To young children even, we ask them at the very beginning of learning English, right? We ask them to write a word by pronouncing it. So you might be familiar with that, right? If you are a teacher, definitely you know what I'm telling. If you are a mother, also you know what I'm telling, right?
Yeah.
So we normally ask the kids to write, okay, Rausana, you also there, right? Good evening. So we ask the child to write a word as how we pronounce it. So in that case, of course, that's all right. Okay, because spellings and the pronunciations of the same word go together, right? They tally. But the problem comes when they don't tally. There are discrepancies between sounds and English spelling. So in such a situation, it's really difficult to match the sounds with the orthography. Orthography means the spellings. And you can refer to that relevant part of the module. You will get enough points to say why and how there are discrepancies between sounds and the English spelling, right? So don't match most of the time. So then that will be a problem, right? That will be a problem, especially for the learners of the English language. They don't go parallel. So as a solution to that, this IPA has been introduced. Okay, now for the knowledge of Rausana, I'm just briefing the previous part, okay? Right?
Okay, ma'am.
So then IPA means it stands for International Phonetic Alphabet. This contains some symbols, right, that we can use to represent the sounds. So unlike the Roman alphabet, of course, in Roman alphabet, we have 26 letters beginning with A, B, C, D up to Z, right? So that's the Roman alphabet where there are 26 letters. Just like that, we have this International Phonetic Alphabet that contains not the letters, but the sounds. Actually, the symbols of the sounds. And roughly, we have 44 different sounds. But different linguists and the authors come up with different numbers. That's there. But generally, we say there are 44 different sounds in English. And to represent these 44, there are 44 different symbols. These 44 different symbols are contained in this IPA. Okay, right? So, well, and then we were talking about the advantages of speech and writing, the advantages of the spoken form as well as the written form, right? So actually at the very beginning of this lesson, we were talking we were comparing and contrasting the speech and the writing forms. Because people are usually familiar with the writing, the written aspect. Even yesterday, I made that point, right? When we are talking about language, we just remember the letters and the words. That's what we are used to. Of course, that is not the primary role of language. We are using language to communicate, and that happens mostly via the spoken form. Whereas the written form came quite later. Okay, but it's true that the written form is much more advanced than the spoken form. But in linguistics, we give our prior attention to the spoken form. But still, there are some advantages of writing. What happened?
We can hear, ma'am. Yeah.
I need to share the screen. Right. Okay. So still there are advantages of the written form as well as the spoken form. So this is just an opener, right? Kind of opening, leaving you kind of room to think about the differences between spoken and the written form, right? So after that, of course, directly we moved on to the discussion on the production of speech sounds. Because this lesson, this second lesson, which is on consonants and vowel, is based, 100% based on talking about the production of part of the speech sounds, how we produce, how we articulate or produce speech sounds, right? So there, of course, yesterday, we were talking about the airstream mechanism, right? Which is the basis of speech sounds, the role of the speech organs, including the larynx and the articulators, which means the speech organs. And the speech organs are active as well as passive. They can be classified into active articulators and passive articulators. And we were discussing what are active and passive, right? And also yesterday we discussed about the production of oral and nasal sounds, and especially the role of the velum. We paid attention to the role of the velum. If the velum is the soft palate, if the soft palate is raised, we produce the oral sounds. And if the soft palate is lower, we produce, as you can see, the nasal sounds. So that is clearly given in this image, and this image is there, right? This figure,
yes.
This is there in the module.
Yes.
So you can further refer with the description, you can further refer to this diagram, two diagrams. It will clearly show you the difference between the velum raised position and the velum lowered position in producing oral and nasal sounds. Okay, so that is where we stopped yesterday. I was discussing these areas in detail, actually, in very detail. And today, we need to talk about the production of voiced and voiceless sound. From this very point, I stopped yesterday. Right. So, now when you think about the production of speech sounds, I told you, of course, we need the help of the speech organs, right? And there are several speech organs, as you can see in this diagram also. Yeah, I'll show the slide. Okay. So as you can see, there are so many different articulators. Articulators is another name for speech organs, right? So when you look at this diagram, you can see starting from the beginning with the lips, upper lip, lower lip, and then the teeth, upper teeth, lower teeth. And if you just think about the tongue area, the tongue is there. And in the tongue, of course, there are several parts again, right? The tip, blade, front, back, and root, those parts are there in the second diagram here. And if you just think about the upper side, you have the, soon after the upper teeth, alveolar ridge, hard palate, and soon after the hard palate, the velum or the soft palate, and after that, uvula, and this pharynx area, and the epiglottis, right? And the epiglottis is not a speech organ anyway, right? Yesterday I was talking about the epiglottis, the role of the epiglottis. Actually, it's there to fulfill a biological function, not doing anything related to the speech sound production. So it's not a speech organ, right? Epiglottis. But the next important speech organ is the larynx, which is situated somewhere in the throat. Of course, we can't see the larynx. We can't see the larynx. Larynx is situated inside the throat. But we know where the throat is now. So we can feel the larynx is there now. Have you seen in males, right? There's a small bump in their throat. Have you seen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Larynx.
Yeah. Right. A small bump is there, so which we don't see usually in females, right? Okay. So actually that bump is the front part of the larynx.
Okay.
So in males, of course, the larynx is visible, of course. The front part of the larynx is situated there. So, but it's not that clear in the females, right? We don't see that bump in them. But still, you know, the particular speech organ called larynx is situated there, inside the throat, right? So now when we talk about the production of voiced and voiceless sounds, we need to talk about the function of the larynx, right? Inside the larynx, actually, larynx is a structure. It's a structure made of muscles, cartilages, that sort of things. And inside this structure, there are some parts that are very important for our discussion, especially two parts, right? One part is the vocal cords. The other part is the glottis, vocal cords and glottis. So I'll come to this note. Okay, I'll be going all these lines. But before that, let me briefly tell you what is happening inside our larynx when we talk. When we talk means when we produce sounds. Now I am producing some sounds here, right? So while I am producing sounds, the vocal cords that are there inside my larynx are always vibrating, right? They are vibrating. The vocal cords are vibrating. Now, you know what vocal cords are? In Sinhala, you know, Swaratantra, right? You might have heard the Sinhala term also, no? So that is what we here mean by the vocal cords. So they are kept on vibrating. So if you are not sure, right, you can just touch your throat while talking. And you just simply touch your throat while you are telling something, while you are producing some sounds, you might feel some vibrations. Definitely you would feel your throat is vibrating, but slight vibrations, right? Not big ones. So which means our vocal cords are vibrating. And the rate of vibration differs, right? When we produce certain sounds, we can feel a heavy kind of vibration. And when we produce some other sounds, we can feel light vibration. All the times we feel a vibration, but that depends on the particular sound. Okay, right. So then what happens is this. When we produce a sound, the basis is the airstream, right? The basis is the airstream that provides the energy for us to produce a sound. So this airstream is produced inside our lungs. And after it is produced inside the lungs, it comes upwards. Actually, this airstream exits the lungs now. It exits the lungs and then via the windpipe, it comes up. As you can see in this image. Well, right, as you can see, so lungs are somewhere down and the airstream is coming and it enters the larynx. So when the airstream is coming upwards along the windpipe, so this is called windpipe, this tube, particular tube, windpipe or trachea. So actually lungs are somewhere here, right? So the airstream is coming out of the lungs. It comes upwards and larynx is the first speech organ that this airstream meets. So this airstream has to pass the larynx to go upwards. It passes the larynx, comes up and then enters the oral cavity or a nasal cavity, right? So that is the direction, the track of the airstream. So when the airstream enters the larynx, there are things happening. So that is what we are going to talk here, right? So I told you inside the larynx, the vocal cords are there. And actually, it's a particular structure where the vocal cords and some cartilages are there. There is a set of cartilages called arytenoid cartilages. I will show you an image, okay? Arytenoid cartilages. And the vocal cords are located in between these arytenoid cartilages. So just give me 1 minute, please. I want to close this and find an image. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's see whether I can find an image for you. Okay. Right. So may I know whether you can see the picture?
Yeah, ma'am.
Right. So this is a diagram, right, that shows the inside of the larynx, right? This is now here. You can say actually the thyroid cartilages are not that important for our discussion. Even cartilages you don't want to bother so much, right? But they are inside the larynx, so I just make the terms and the things familiar to you all. So this is the set of arytenoid cartilages. You can see with the arrow, right? The arytenoid cartilage, and with the arytenoid cartilage, vocal cords are connected. You can see vocal fold or vocal cord. These are the vocal cords. I hope you can see. Right. And now when you look at this, you can see the airstream is supposed to pass through the larynx. No? So when the airstream is coming through the larynx, you can see, according to this particular structure, the vocal cords are kept apart. There's a space in between. Yeah. Right? These arytenoid cartilages are kept apart, and as a result, the vocal cords are also like kept apart. There's a space, opening in between the vocal cords. So it is easy for the airstream to pass through this because there is a space there. This space we call glottis, right? We call this space glottis. Let me write the word somewhere because it's not there in the picture. Wait. Okay. Right. It's glottis. Right? This space, this particular space is called glottis. Now, don't confuse the terms. This is not epiglottis. No, this is not the epiglottis. Epiglottis is somewhere else inside the body, actually. Epiglottis is situated outside the larynx, right? And glottis is situated inside the larynx. So, this opening is called glottis. So, in this particular structure, we say glottis is opening, right? We say the glottis is open. The glottis is open because there is a clear space providing enough space for the airstream to pass through this. Right. And there is another situation also. This is only one position. There's another position where these arytenoid cartilages are very closer. They're actually touching to each other. And as a result, the vocal cords are also tightly touched to each, right? But the thing is, even though the vocal cords are tightly touched to each other, the airstream has to pass through it now. Otherwise, we can't produce sounds. So when the airstream is passing through it, of course, there's no space. That's the problem. Because the vocal cords are tightly touched, you don't find any space in between. So in such a situation, we say the glottis is closed. So when the glottis is closed, the airstream cannot pass through the larynx easily. There is a pressure building now. Okay. The air pressure is built up. Due to this air pressure, the vocal cords start vibrating heavily. Right? When the air stream passes through the vocal cords, they are vibrating. So actually that is what is happening when we produce voiced sound. When we produce a voiceless sound, no vibrations of the vocal cords, because there is enough space, as you can see in this picture, there is enough space for the airstream to travel through it. So no pressure created and no vibrations if the glottis is open. Right? So at right now you see the glottis open position of the larynx. But you hope, I think you can visualize the glottis close position as well. Right. And I think I have got a small video. Right. Okay. Okay. Just have a look at this also. Just have a look at this. Okay. The sound, right? Don't bother with the sound. Try to read the lines somewhere at the bottom of the slide. Right? So this is the vocal cords closed. The glottis is closed. So when the glottis is closed, the vocal cords are tightly touched to each other. This is what happens when the airstream passes through it, right? The pressure is built up and then the airstream is forced through the vocal cords upwards. Right. So the vocal cords are vibrating. And see the vibrations of the vocal cord. So I'll just play it again. Okay, right. Okay. And go back to the slide. Right. So now that is the incident. Okay. Now just don't think that always while we are producing sounds, the larynx is in either the first position or the second position. There are so many ways the vocal cords behave. So we will have a look at it with these notes, right? Okay, we'll go from the beginning. When the vocal cords are widely separated and fairly stretched, no voice is produced. Now, be clear with the term voicing. Voicing, because Actually, that is what we discuss here. Production of voiced and voiceless. So, if the vocal cords do not vibrate a lot, anyway, the vocal cords are vibrating, but if they do not vibrate a lot as because of the presence of the space for the airstream to travel through it freely, right? We say we produce voiceless sounds. Voiceless sounds when the vocal cords are not vibrating. And when the vocal cords are vibrating, then we say we produce voiced sounds. Right? We produce voice sound. So I think the meaning of the first line is clear to you. When the vocal cords are widely separated and fairly stretched means when there is an opening, a space between the vocal cords, then actually there's no need for the vocal cords to vibrate. So no voice is produced. Don't misunderstand here. No voice is produced means we are producing sounds, right? But the sound that we produce is not voiced. That's the idea here. Okay. So this is known as an open glottis. Open glottis, you know now, which means the glottis is open in this situation. In this situation, glottis is open, and that is why we say we produce voiceless sounds. Produces a voiceless sound. Right. So we have another figure. These figures are also there in the module. Yes. Right. You can find A, the figure A. So these are the arytenoid cartilages, and you can see the vocal cords, and clearly the vocal cords are kept apart from each other. There is a space. You can see the space. So we say the larynx, the glottis is open. Glottis is open. We produce voiceless sounds. Right? The exhalation air is voiceless. You know, exhalation, inhalation, right? Exhalation means the exhaled air. So always we produce sounds with the use of the exhaled air. Actually, this air stream is our exhaled air. And the exhaled air is not voiced when there is a space in between the vocal cords. Right? Okay, so that is the first situation, A. However, the vocal cords may also be set in vibration. We call it phonation also. And this produces a voiced sound, as you can see in B. Look at the second image, B. So here, these two arytenoid cartilages are very closer to each other, right? They are very close, and the vocal cords are also almost touched, right, to each other. And you can see there's a very small space. Of course, rather than saying no space, there is very small space. The glottis is almost closed. That is the structure there. Right. So they vibrate open and shut as air passes through. Now you saw that in the video also. The vocal cords vibrate open and shutting, right, as the airstream passes through it, and vibration is begun by initially closing the vocal cords completely, but with the cords fairly relaxed. Right. Air pressure builds up below the cords and blows them apart. Then the pressure decreases and the cords close again. These events occur in rapid succession. I think you saw this incident in the video, right? So when the airstream is going to pass through the larynx, then it comes up to the vocal cords. Now the vocal cords are closed. What will happen? The airstream is coming and coming now. So the vocal cords are closed. There's no space. Glottis is closed. So when the airstream is kept on coming, there is a pressure building up there behind the vocal cord. So when the pressure becomes heavy, the vocal cords are automatically, they are pushed open. due to the pressure. So they are pushed open so that the airstream then passes through the vocal cords. And after that, when the pressure becomes lesser, the vocal cords are again closing. So this is the continuous process, right? Okay. That is what you have in these lines. So you can see it happening in the second structure, B, right? Women's vocal cords being smaller vibrate more rapidly. Now you know that incident, right? So now you know male-female voice difference. The male voice is different from the female voice now. So whose vocal cords are vibrating more, as you can see? You can just think.
For women.
Yeah.
For women.
Women, females. Yeah. Females' vocal cords are vibrating very rapidly than the males' vocal cords. One reason is they are like comparatively not lengthier, they are smaller. The women's vocal cords are smaller than the men's vocal cords, so they vibrate more rapidly. Now you can see normally in between 190 and 250 hertz. While men's larger vocal cords vibrate in between 100 and 150 hertz. Okay, so now I think you can clearly understand how rapidly the vocal cords are vibrating during different situations of speech production. Like just think about opera songs. Have you heard opera songs?
Yes.
Right? These singers are screaming at the top of their voice. So can you imagine how rapidly their vocal cords are vibrating? So that is the reason, okay? And that is the reason for the difference between male voice and female voice. Yeah. So when the vocal cords are vibrating, you can feel a vibration and hear a buzzing also. You can feel the vibration with your hands, right? If you touch your throat with the hands, you can feel it. And the kind of buzzing is also followed with the voice, right? Okay, so now C is a kind of whispering. So we'll move on to the next lines. A closed glottis occurs when the vocal cords are brought completely together. Like in B, okay? Once and the airstream is interrupted. This produces a speech sound we will consider later called something is missing, I think, voiced, right? Voiced, called voiced sound. This line maybe they are completely in the module anyway. So this is what we saw in B, right? Production of voiced sound. And the glottis is closed. And there is glottal stop also, glottal stop. Whispering involves bringing the vocal cords close together, right? Now, this is another situation. Just try to understand. The vocal cords are close, right? Keeping them fairly taut but not vibrating. Air is restricted through a small triangular passage between the arytenoid cartilages, and this produces a hissing sound, right? Hissing sound. In phonetics, we call it a friction, like this. You can see the location of the arytenoid cartilages. They are placed like this. And the vocal cords are also close to each other, right? And you can see small triangular area, right? So actually there is a space, somewhat a space, no vibration, right? So when the airstream passes through this, it creates a kind of sound. Hissing sound is that, right? A friction. So that is called glottal stop. And yet another whispered, right? Another structure the vocal cords can take. But primarily now our topic of the discussion is production of voiced and voiceless sounds. So basically you need to know about A and B. A shows the production of voiceless sound and B shows the production of voice sound. And C is another different position of the larynx. Right? So to produce a breathy voice, the vocal cords never close completely but are in vibration. Hence, there is a murmuring times. Now, you can have slight short descriptions about different types of voices. Breathy voice, creaky voice, harsh voice, and hoarse voice. Right now, these are different types of voices people have. So what do you think about having a breathy voice? You need to guess what's happening inside the larynx when one produces breathy voice. The vocal cords never close completely, but still they are vibrating, right? This kind of murmuring sound is there, breathy. And creaky voice results from voice in a slow, regular vibration. Another thing is when we talk or when we produce sounds, our vocal cords are kept on vibrating in different ways, right? Of course, always they are vibrating, but in different manners, in different degrees. Depending on that, the quality of the voice we produce is decided. So we produce breathy voice, creaky voice, and harsh voice. It results from excessive tension in the vocal cords and irregular vibration. The vibration is not regular there. And hoarse voice usually results from swelling of the vocal cords, producing irregular vibration and incomplete closure. Incomplete closure. The stopping is not complete, right? The blocking is not complete. So you don't have to memorize these things, okay? But you need to, after all, understand how much the larynx and the behavior of the vocal cords are important in producing our voice or sound, in the sound production together with the voicing of the sounds. So the behavior of the vocal cords can decide the quality of voicing, right? Due to the regular vibration, no vibration, irregular vibration, etc. Due to all these different behaviors, our voicing can change. So finally, producing different types of voicing. So especially when you are not well, when you feel, when you are suffering from cold also, right? The voice changes. Yeah. Actually, the reason is the irregularities of the vocal cord vibration and swelling of the vocal cord. So a lot of things are happening. So you need to get that general picture, right? But basically, you need to be very clear of A and B, production of voiceless and voiced sounds. Okay, right. Just to think about some examples, you know about consonants now, right? You know about now we are going to talk about the consonants and vowels one by one. But for the moment, to get some examples of voiceless and voice sounds, you know, there are 22 consonants. Okay, 22 consonants are there. Among these 22, some are voiced, some are voiceless. And when you think about vowel sounds, all the vowels are voiced. Remember that. All the vowels are voiced. And there are semi-vowels also. So all the semi-vowels, there are actually 2 semi-vowels. All the semi-vowels are also voiced. So majority of the sounds are voiced, of course, including vowels and semi-vowels. These things, even some consonants, and few other consonants are voiceless. So how do you find? Okay, I'll give some examples for consonants here. I'll write some here. And you need to find out whether they are voiced or voiceless. Okay, I'm writing sounds, right? That is why these symbols are there in between slashes. Okay, there are some other symbols, of course. It's not easy to write them here. And I don't want to insert them from elsewhere as it takes some more time. So I'll just write some, which I can do using the keyboard here. Okay, right. This would be enough. There are so many consonants. As I told you, 22 consonants are there, right? But here few consonants are there. So you just try now, okay? Try to see what are voiceless and what are voiced consonants. Now, how to find it? Now, the thing is, we can't see whether our vocal cords are vibrating or not. No, we don't see whether the glottis is open or closed. Only thing is, we can feel the vibration. Although we don't see, we can feel the vibration. So you can hold, you can touch your throat with the hand while you produce these sounds one by one. I don't produce all the sounds at a stretch. One by one, individually produce these sounds and see whether you feel a vibration. Of course, you feel a vibration all the time, right? But yes, sometimes when you produce certain sounds, you feel a heavy vibration. Okay. And sometimes you feel a light vibration. So light vibration means voiceless. Heavy vibration means voiced. So I'll give you a few minutes. Okay. Find out. I was disconnected from the meeting, and now what I have written have gone.
I wrote it.
Yeah. Now. Yeah. Thank you. So just tell me. Could you please tell me?
Yeah. Letters T.
Yeah, actually, these are sounds. Okay. So it is per, and the next one ber. Wait. Third one.
K.
Wait. Okay. Better one person says, otherwise not clear. Must be g also. And the next one? Ma.
Na.
Na. Okay.
La.
La. Fine.
Sa.
Sa.
Z.
Z. Yeah, actually there is this one. Okay. Is that all?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So have you found?
Yes.
Not yet.
Found it.
Okay. Okay. Just right. Okay. The others. Ravsana.
Okay. G.
And Safni. You try. Okay, I'll give you again some time.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened now? Still touching your throat and trying to figure out the vibrations, what's happening, right? Okay. Well, the thing is now, once you are familiar with these things, always don't have to touch your throat to find out whether it's vibrating or not, right? You can just keep in your mind. At least have some idea in your mind regarding the examples of voice and voiceless sounds. So in short, we write for voiceless, V minus, in short, okay? For voiceless, and to indicate voiced sound, we put it like this, in short. Okay. So here, we'll write, even I will omit the letter V, right? I will omit the letter V. I'll be just putting the relevant mark to indicate whether this sound is voiced or voiceless. What do you think about per? First one, per. This is per. There has to be a slash, right? There has to be a slash here. Okay. Because now, actually, I have written the phonetic symbols. These phonetic symbols are available in the International Phonetic Alphabet. So these phonetic symbols means actually these are the symbols that represent the sounds. Now, you know, usually sounds are produced and sounds are heard. I produce the sounds and you hear the sounds, and that's all. But why should we bother to write the sounds? For the purpose of teaching and learning. Okay, to work in the areas of phonetics and phonology, we need to sometimes write the sounds and show them. So for that, we need phonetic symbols. So here I have written these sounds using phonetic symbols. Okay, look at the first one then. The first sound per, is it voiced or voiceless? What are your findings? Per. Yeah,
Ma'am, I couldn't get you.
Yeah?
I couldn't get you, ma'am.
No, I was asking, right?
Per voiceless, madam. Is it correct?
Yes. Per is voiceless. So I will put the mark like this. Hope you can find, right? Per is voiceless. What about b? Compared to per. Now we will be talking about these sounds in detail under place and manner of articulation. But for the moment, you should understand.
Were voiced. Is it correct?
Yeah. We produce per and b in the same way. We use our both lips. But regarding voicing, it's different, right? B is voiced sound. B is voiced. The voicing is available there. Voicing is present. B. Now, you just touch your throat and say per, b. Per, b. What about the vibrations? Per.
Or B, more vibrations are there.
Yeah, when we say b, we can feel the vibration quite a lot rather than per. Per, when we say per, actually the sound is produced somewhere in the mouth only, right? We feel that, we get that impression. But when we say b, rather than, not only the lips, something inside the throat is also happening. Don't you feel? B, b. You feel something inside your throat. Vibration. Something means vibrations. So, which means when we produce b, our vocal cords are vibrating. What about the next one? K. Voiced or voiceless? Yeah. K, voiceless.
Voiceless.
And G, voiced. G, you feel a vibration there, right? That is voiced. What do you think about both ma, na? Ma, na, you produce them, in a way similar manner, right? Because both are nasals. Can you remember from yesterday's discussion? Right? Ma, na, both are nasals. When we produce these two sounds, the airstream passes through the nasal cavity, right? And goes out of the body through the nose. Are they voiced or not? What are your findings? I don't think you are checking now. I gave you enough time.
I think, ma'am, voiceless.
Ma, ma,
Ma, ma,
na.
ba, ma, na, ma, na.
What about the other two? Rosan? And Safni? If you are listening, any idea? Actually, ma, na, both are voiced, right? Both are voiced, and there are four nasal consonants. Ma, na, nga, and nya. All these four nasals are voiced, right? So these two are voiced. And then we have l, l. What is that? L. That is also voiced.
Voiced.
And s, like when you say sing, so, etc. The word.
Voiceless, sir.
Sir, voiceless. Correct. And what do you think about z? Like when you say zoo, Zulu, zombie.
The voiced.
This is
Voiced.
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 This is voiced. Okay. So now there are only few consonants here, but there are 22 altogether, 22 consonants available. So like p, b, k, g, ch, j, t, d, n, m, n, ng, l, r, s, z, sh, j, th, the, etc. So likewise, it amounts to 22. And majority, in the sense of not majority, most half, right? Some are voiceless and some are voiced. So as you can see here, I have given you more voiced consonants and only 3 voiceless consonants from this list. So now we have just stopped, we have ended the discussion of the production of voiced and voiceless consonant. So better to have some examples with you, right? What are the voiced consonants and what are the voiceless consonants? You better add these to your notes if you're writing something apart from what is there in the module. Okay. So usually I prepare my slides based on the module. But while I'm speaking during the sessions, I speak more than what's there in the module. So during the lessons, you can jot down whatever you like or whatever you think would be necessary for you, apart from the things in the module. Right? So you can add these examples also, just to complete our discussion on voiced and voiceless nouns. And just write somewhere, all the vowels and semi-vowels are voiced. Right? You need to take that point as well, along with these examples. Okay. Okay, I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes to complete.
Ma'am, are you going to share the slides with us? Either
The thing is, Tarani, now, of course, I have not included anything beyond the module, of course, into the slides. Only thing is, during the discussions, I may be telling more than what's there in the module. That's there, but I have not included anything extra, right?
Okay.
So tell me when you have finished.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, can I know now these all are like coming to the test? Are they asking some questions related to the vocal cords and how the sounds are coming out? Those questions are
Harani, that is the doubt I also have, of course. The thing is, I am not aware of how they set the questions, right? So once I get to know, I think I may be able to give you a clue regarding what the format of the questions would look like. But at the moment, no idea. Okay? The only thing is, for the moment, you all just be familiar with the module. So these lectures are organized for you to go to that target, right? To be familiar with the module. Okay, right? Just disregard this line, huh? So shall I move on to the next part? If this is okay for all of you. Production
Madam?
of voice.
Hello, madam.
Yeah.
I can't hear, the sound is less sound, madam. I can't hear.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, less sound.
How about now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, clear? Still not clear? Hello?
I can hear you, ma'am.
Ravsana?
Yes, ma'am. I think coverage problem. I think.
You might have a, coverage problem there. Okay. Right.
Maybe,
so shall I?
Yeah.
Yes?
Maybe she reduced the volume of the phone or the laptop.
Okay, please check with your device. Check with your device, please, right? Okay, then I'll be clearing these writings. Hope I have given you enough time to take down this, right? These examples. Right, so shall I clear them before going to the next?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, here we go. Right. Okay, so this is another area, not a lengthy area, right? Now you can see this is only the last part of that, under that topic, loudness and pitch. Because now we are talking about the production of speech sounds now, right? That is our topic of the discussion. So we are looking at the production of speech sounds from different perspectives, from different angles, right? We were discussing how we can produce oral and nasal sounds. And then we talked about how to produce voiced and voiceless sounds. And here there is something a little bit about loudness and pitch in our sounds, right? Loudness and pitch. So you better have some idea regarding these words. Loudness is related to the pressure and volume of air expelled. As these increase, the sound becomes louder. So now, you know, some people have loud voice. Yeah. Some people have loud voice and some have a very low voice. Loudness is a matter, of course. Now you may have heard there are very soft-spoken people. Soft-spoken means although we try our level best advising them to speak louder, they never, right? They don't do so because actually it's not their problem. It's a problem with the biology of us, right? I mean, the physically their voice is not set to be loud, and that is why their voice is so low, right? Okay, so actually what is loudness? It is related to the pressure of the airstream and also volume of this expelled air. Expelled air means exhaled air. Volume and the pressure. Okay. So if you have a very large volume of expel there will be high pressure and there will be loudness in your voice. Your voice will be loud. Right? And if your voice is not loud, which means the pressure of the airstream is not very big. And even the volume of the expel there is not large. That's the difference. So now by physically, usually, so some people, they are not made to speak louder, right? Although they are said to, people advise them to speak louder, they are unable. So that is a different situation. But sometimes we can deliberately make our voice loud, right? So you can ask somebody to speak louder so they can increase their volume.
Yeah.
Can increase their volume. So that can be done by purpose, right? Purposely, deliberately, we can increase the loudness of our voice. There are situations where we can't increase the loudness deliberately also due to some biological reasons. So that is what you mean by loudness, right? And pitch is another keyword here. When we talk about the voice, the quality of the sound produced, loudness, along with loudness, pitch is also important. So pitch is a matter of the quality of the sound, right? Quality, which is a consequence of the frequency of the sound wave emitted. Frequency, always remember, pitch is related to the frequency of the sound waves. Every person has a natural frequency and range. Right now, frequency actually, frequency of the vibration of the vocal cords. Right? And also frequency of the sound waves that are emitted means produced. Every person has a natural frequency and range. So men's voices tend to have a lower pitch. Now, earlier also we were talking about the difference between men and women voices now. Right? We said the women voice is different from men's voice because their vocal cords are vibrating at a faster rate.
Yeah.
The vocal cords vibrating at a faster rate means their pitch is higher than the male voices, right? They produce high pitch. So high vibration means, high rate of vibration means high pitch. And in contrast, low rate of vibration means low pitch. So men's voices tend to have a lower pitch than women's due to the larger size of their vocal cords, and they vibrate more slowly, right? And pitch can be modulated by altering the tension on the vocal cords and changing their length. Now we can change the pitch level if we want to. Okay, now the thing is, naturally we have a frequency, you know. People, now if we take 10 people, they have 10 different natural frequency or a range within which they produce sounds. That is their natural frequency. Okay, but sometimes if we want, we can go up to a high pitch or low pitch or medium pitch. So that can be changed. The pitch can be changed by changing the tension on the vocal cords and changing their length also. So biologically, we can't change the length of the vocal cords, but still we can change the vibrations. We can change the pressure which we put onto these vocal cords and change their vibration. Pitch decreases when the vocal cords are elongated and tense, and increases when they are relaxed, hence shorter. Okay, so this is about the production of different pitch levels. Pitch decreases means we have low pitch when the vocal cords are stretched or elongated and tense. Now, when the vocal cords are longer, what will happen? We have low vibrations, just like in men's voices. their vocal cords are larger. No? So just like that, when the vocal cords are stretched or elongated, we produce low vibration, producing low pitch. The opposite, when the vocal cords are relaxed and shorter, relaxed means not stretched, okay? Not lengthened or elongated. They are relaxed means shorter, then the rate of vibration is higher and the pitch level is also higher. Pitch increases or else the pitch is higher when the vocal cords are short. Okay, so you need to understand here, loudness and pitch depend on the vocal cords. That's the point. Right? That's the main point here. The loudness and the pitch are different qualities of our voice or the sounds which we produce. So these qualities are decided by the behavior of the vocal cords. How the vocal cords are vibrating, whether the vocal cords are stretched or relaxed, accordingly how they are vibrating, and also the frequency of the vibrations. All these things decide the production of the loudness and the variation of pitch in our voice. That's the point. Is that clear to all of you? Right? Okay. Well, so actually that is the end of our discussion of the second topic on the production of speech, right? Production of speech. What's happening with this screen sharing? Data. Okay, this is what I was talking. So I was actually covering the second topic here, the production of speech sounds. Okay, in the second lesson. And next we need to move on to the discussion of consonant sounds. So up to this, I think now these are there as they are in the module, the contents of the module. So you need to read the module. Okay, yesterday also I was telling this. If you are not familiar with the module, of course, it may be like quite difficult for you to catch what we are telling. Only by reading the slides, don't think that you will be able to get the whole picture of our discussions, right? This is a bit advanced. If you are not following up this, you might not be able to catch some of the points. So always be familiar with the contents of the module. You don't have to complete reading the whole module in one night. Don't do that, even if it's possible, right? You just in parts, read the parts. You don't have to study the module as well, okay? Just read, turn the pages and read. Then you will build up a kind of familiarity with it. So once you participate in the lecture, then the things will be clearer in your mind. Because already you are familiar with the things, no? So once you listen to the things, once you participate in the discussions, the things will be clearer, so that it will be easy for you to retain these things in the mind. The things, you will remember the things clearly and easily. So that's the logic behind this, okay? Well, so I don't think you have any doubt or an issue up to now so far regarding the areas we have discussed. So I'm closing this and opening the next. Right. So this discussion is based on the production of consonant sounds. Because when we talk about the different sounds, there are so many different sounds, right? We can classify the sounds in so many different ways. Vowels, consonants, and diphthongs, triphthongs, semivowels, like that. But basically, there are two major types, consonants and vowels. The other types belong to either of these major two. Okay. So apart from talking about all the categories here, we are starting a discussion with the consonant sounds. Now, can I know whether you are feeling what? Kind of tired in listening? Are you all ready now? Ravsan and Tarani are there. So is it all right if we start the discussion of this now?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Is that okay, ma'am? Do we want to, I mean, like the others are not participated today, no? Is that okay if we start this?
Yeah. So what else? I think they know the timetable, right? Yeah. So which means they are supposed to log into the meeting. If they do not do so, that is their fault, right? We can't, as I told you, it's not really easy for us to change the schedules. Right. Okay. So now let's begin our discussion here, right? Now tomorrow also we are meeting. I think you have the timetable, so we can continue what we start here today, tomorrow. Well, so now there are a lot of descriptions. All these things are there, right, in the module. So rather than me introducing the consonants for you, right, I'll give you a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, just in order to be familiar with this thing. Kindly go through these lines that are there in this slide. Okay. And be familiar. Right. Okay. So hope you got some idea now. Right? Still reading?
No, ma'am, read it.
I don't think you all have taken a break or something like that. Okay. Right. Consonant sounds. So now let's have a look at what's there. Speech is a phonetic continuum, right? There's continuous, smoothly flowing set of movements, not a set of discrete and isolated movements. Now, I hope you got the idea here. Speech is a kind of something that flows continuously. A smoothly flowing set of movements are there in speech, right? Not separate parts, so isolated parts there. It is convenient, however, to segment the speech chain into syllables and to divide these in turn into consonants and vowels. So right now you all listening to what I'm telling now. So am I stopping? Am I breaking my utterances into separate sounds one by one? Or am I continuously talking? My sounds are continuously coming out of my mouth. What? Definitely. The second way, right? When I'm talking, when not only I am talking and anybody else is talking, any person is talking, actually the utterances are flowing very smoothly. It's a continuous utterance. But for the convenience of teaching and understanding, learning this production of sounds, what do? We break these utterances into segments. Like segment means into parts and speech units. And syllable is such a unit, speech unit, and also not only syllables. Inside the syllables, there are sounds. So these individual sounds can be identified as consonants and vowel sounds. They're basically consonants and vowels. So a syllable consists necessarily of a vowel. Optionally, it may begin and or end with a consonant. So I think you know about syllables, right? What do you think about the syllables? Have you heard about syllables or you no idea? Okay, now I don't know whether my voice is clear to you. There's a drumming going on in a nearby place. Hope you are not disturbed with that. Are you?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. We are clear.
Okay. What about syllable then? Actually, syllable is a speech unit, right? Syllable is a speech unit where there is compulsorily a vowel sound. There has to be a vowel sound. And together with the vowel, there can be a consonant or no consonant. With or without consonants, syllable comprised of vowel sounds, right? Okay, now very simply, you can think about word like pen, pen. I write the word pen using letters, not the sound symbols, okay? Pen. So how many syllables are there in this word? If you guess.
One.
Only one syllable, right? Only one syllable because only one vowel is there. If you have more than one vowel inside the same word, then there may be more than one syllable. But here only one vowel sound, A. A is the vowel. And there are two consonants, right? This is the vowel. At the beginning, we have a consonant. And at the end of the word also, we have a consonant. So this is the structure of this syllable. V is there in the middle. V means vowel with two consonants in either side. So that can be the structure of a syllable. So whatever, whether there are consonants or not, if there's a vowel sound, we know it's a syllable unit or speech unit that is called syllable. So that is why we here say syllable consists necessarily of a vowel. Optionally, there can be a consonant, right? So a vowel is the nucleus or acoustic high point of a syllable. Nucleus means the center, right? Central point. So without a vowel, we say there can't be a syllable. So that is the central feature in the syllable, the high point of a syllable, and it is articulated for a long time than surrounding consonants. Okay, so while vowels tend to continue the airstream, consonants tend to break. Now, this point is important, right? So I was talking about syllable here because inside a syllable, definitely we find a vowel sound with or without consonants. So for example, in word like pen, both types of sounds are there, vowel and consonants. But actually, what is the difference between these two types of sounds, vowels and consonants? You get the point from this line, right? Now, already we know the basics of the sound production. Basics. We produce any sound with an airstream, right? And this airstream is produced inside our lungs. And after the production, this airstream exits the lungs. It comes upwards. It passes the larynx. Then it enters the mouth, the oral cavity, or the nasal cavity. Right. So let's say it enters the oral cavity, producing oral sounds. Then it flows through the oral cavity and goes out of the body through the mouth. So in this track, in this journey, right? This airstream is subjected to so many changes made by the speech organs. Right? Sometimes this airstream flows freely. It is not disturbed by any speech organ. But in some other times, this airstream is blocked in various ways, in various places inside the oral tract by the speech organs, right? Okay, so when we think about the vowel sounds, what is happening to the airstream? Now, I'll give you one or two examples of vowels. Just think about E. E is a vowel sound. I will write the symbol here. This is long E sound, okay? E. This is not L. Just think about that, right? E. And there's another vowel, A. A. Okay, two vowels are enough for you to understand what happens to the airstream. Now, what happens to the airstream when you say these two? E, A, and there are some other vowels also, A, U, O, all are vowels. So what do you think about the airstream? What's happened? What's happened to the airstream? Is it flowing freely or is it blocked inside your mouth? Yeah. Now the thing is you need to produce these on your own. Okay. Otherwise you can't. I told you this is a practical subject. I can produce sounds, but I don't think it will help because you can't see my speech organs. Even if I can switch on the video, but no point. You don't feel, right? You don't feel my pronunciation. Only I myself would feel it. So for you to feel it, you need to use your speech organs and produce the sound all by yourself. So just say E, O, R, or any other vowel you like, any vowel you like, and just check what happens to the airstream. Is it freely flowing? Or two options. Is it freely flowing or is it blocked by any speech organ?
It's blocking, I guess.
Really? By the speech organs.
Now all the vowels are voiced, no? All the vowels.
Yeah. All the vowels are voiced, right? And that voicing takes place inside the larynx, no? Inside the larynx. Now we are talking about the incidents that are happening inside our mouth. inside the oral tract.
Hmm.
So what is happening to the airstream? Do you really think that while we say E, R, O, airstream, don't you feel the airstream passes very freely?
It's getting open.
Yeah, it enters the mouth and it flows through the mouth. I mean, no disturbance. Okay, you just compare it with this production of a consonant like per, or even you can think about the consonant like her, right? These two are consonants too. Right, now compare the production of E, O, R with the production of consonants like per, th, even g, ch, j, d, t, any consonant you like. What is the difference? What is happening to the airstream? This is the point, right? When you produce vowel sounds, the airstream flows freely. It flows freely through the oral tract. But when you produce consonants, the airstream is blocked. The airstream is blocked. Now think about per, right? When you say per, you block the airstream with the two lips, upper lip and lower lip, because you tightly touch both lips now. When you say per, then only you suddenly release the airstream by drawing the two lips apart. Per. And similarly, when you say cur, somewhere inside your oral tract, you block the airstream. Cur. Then only after blocking, only you release the airstream. But something like that does not happen when you say or when you produce vowels. Right? So I was explaining this line, of course. While vowels tend to continue the airstream, right? When we produce vowel sounds, the airstream is continuing without any blockage. But when we produce consonants, consonants tend to break in. This continuation is broken. Continuation of the airstream is broken by the speech organs when we produce consonant sounds. So we say consonants break the airstream. So this is the difference between the production of vowels and consonants. If we summarize it, when we produce vowel sounds, we do not block the airstream, it continues to flow. But when we produce consonants, we break the continuation of the airstream by blocking it, by disturbing the airstream with the help of certain speech organs. Okay. So we begin our study of speech sounds with consonants, since they are somewhat easier to describe. We will look first at how consonants are articulated before examining in detail the specific consonants of English. Right. So we'll move on to the discussion of the specific consonants in particular. But before that, we need to see how consonants are produced. Articulated means produced, how the consonants are produced in general. So that's what we are going to look at next. For the moment, we will keep the vowels apart, right? After we talk about the consonants, we can think about the production of vowels comparatively, right? If you just compare vowels and consonants, comparatively, it is easy for us to think about consonants. We can analyze the production of consonants easily than the vowels. Because vowels, almost all the vowels look the same in their production. But when we talk about the consonants, their differences are very obvious. Their differences are very clear. So we will start our discussion with the production of consonants. Okay. Right? So this is just the introduction of the production of consonants, and we need to think about the folk features of the consonants in general. Right? I told you before we go into the specific consonant sounds, we talk about the the production of consonants in general. So there we are going to talk about these 4 features: the state of the glottis, the state of the velum, the place of articulation, and the last one, the manner of articulation. So this is what we are going to discuss next tomorrow. Okay. So up to this, all fine?
We will read the note also, ma'am. All these are very new.
Yes. These are not very that much familiar to most of the students now. So you need to have that familiarity. Just go through the module whenever you get free time, right? Just read some pages. It does not matter, of course, right? It does not matter if you don't understand certain things during the first reading. It's all right. Okay? You don't have to stop reading, okay, thinking that, okay, you don't follow anything. Now, these are really difficult to catch. Right. Don't be demotivated or discouraged. Only thing is you are required to go through. Just go through, read on. That's all. So although you don't know, inside your mind, you develop subconsciously, you develop an awareness. So you will get to know that you have developed an awareness when you read it for the second time. Of course, you are not reading it for the second time. You are listening to it for the second time during the lecture. So then you would, I mean, the bells will start ringing in your mind. Okay, this is what I have read earlier. And this is what I meant by this and that, like that. All the things will fall into the correct places during the lecture. If you have already read. All right, then so far, so good.
Yes.
Fine. So right. So, Ravsana, any doubt?
No, ma'am, no.
Fine. Okay. Nice to and happy to hear. Anyway, I think tomorrow also we have scheduled the lecture, right? The same time from 7 to 9. So we will continue from the next slide. We'll continue to place, manner, all these things tomorrow. Right. So my message is actually, it's better if all the students come to the lecture. Then there will be more chances for the students to engage, involve in the discussion. Right. So just possible pass the message among your friends. Right. So we'll see tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you so
Good
much.
night. Thank you.
Good night, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay.